Welcome to Pod Me If You Can, I'm David Farrell. Today's film is from 1995. It is Three Wishes, starring Patrick Swayze.
Pardon me if you can. Movie reviews.
When war-widowed Jean Holman, played by Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, is driving with her two sons, Tom and Gunny, she accidentally runs into a drifter named Jack McLeod, played by Patrick Swayze, who breaks his leg. Feeling sorry for him, Jean invites Jack and his dog to stay at her home until his leg is healed. After having some difficulty adapting to this new lifestyle, Jack soon finds himself loved by the family and they all want him to stay. When he starts teaching baseball to Tom, who misses his father, who went missing in the Korean War, the two of them develop a strong bond. Meanwhile, Gunny believes there is more to Jack and his dog than meets the eye. Okay, well, Three Wishes. It's a fantasy film with some drama mixed in. It's a period piece, and honestly, I'm not sure I cared for this film. I have watched it very recently, so I'm on those kind of fresh eyes about it. But there's a lot of things that kind of irked me, I suppose. This has very confused logic, it feels very long and very busy. The film has a genie in it, and some magic, hence the title Three Wishes. And the genie is Patrick Swayze's dog. It's not very well executed that a genie would take the form of a dog. Also, Patrick Swayze being the drifter that walks around with the dog, pretty much he was given a wish and he didn't know what to wish for, so the genie made a wish for him that he basically accompany the genie around granting wishes. And that's fine, but it's sort of like you would know what to wish for, I guess. But Patrick Swayze's character apparently didn't know enough about life, and he had more to learn. So this was kind of his punishment. Most of the film is a flashback. Now, this is quite annoying because we meet the eldest son Tom as an adult, and he opens the film with a real busy exposition about how he's lost his job and his home, and things aren't going well for him. Okay, then we never revisit that voiceover or anything like that again. We're thrown back to him as a child, and we do this through almost hitting a drifter and then remembering that his mum almost hit a drifter. This movie is just about 2 hours long, and that is the first thing I would cut. I would lose this entire introduction, because you can still have him bump into... What happens is, he bumps back into Patrick Swayze's character at the end of the film, and he says, you know, this was your wish, and da-da-da-da, I'm not going to spoil it all. But he didn't ever need to have that beginning. You could have just had him as an adult, and it still would have played to exactly the same effect. We lost nothing for losing, say, that first 10 minutes of the movie. Should have started with his mother hitting the drifter. So Patrick Swayze in this film, he's a little bit of eye candy. He's like the handsome drifter who you think the mother character is going to have a relationship with. That is not clear whether or not that happened or not. He briefly shows his butt on camera, he nude sunbathes, and as the sort of hunky homeless guy, you think that he's there to sort of fix things, that maybe he's going to be the father figure that this boy needs, you know, he's playing baseball with him and things like that. But he's got a real zen attitude, and he says things like, if you don't have much, you don't need much. He doesn't feel particularly wise, though, and at times he just tries to bail on the family, like he tries to take off and not be a part of it at all. So he's not really like the magical genie creature of the film. As I've said, the dog is, and he's still learning things. So the fact that whether or not he's a love interest for the mother is very unclear. There's sort of what feels like a dream sequence where she's staring at him out the window and then it shows the two of them get together, and they never address it afterwards, so I'm not sure whether or not it happened. Maybe that was the mother's wish. Now, the youngest son in this film, Gunny, has cancer. His stomach starts hurting and he has cancer. And this feels like a big plot point of the film. It's very depressing. However, they don't really investigate that at all. It's just something that's happening in the background. Gunny's like in hospital at times and not even in scenes, and no one ever mentions him. The film doesn't want you to worry about the boy with cancer. It reminded me of that line in The Room where the mother-in-law says, I definitely have cancer. And then it's not really revisited. It felt like a very unfleshed out idea. While I'm assuming this film was rated G, this version that I purchased actually is in Chinese, I believe, so It doesn't help me with a rating system down the bottom there. It is a green circle, so I'm assuming it's G-rated. But while I believe it's G, Gunny has these presumably medically induced dreams that create a monster in his bedroom, and they're horrific. I wouldn't show them to my children. These dream sequences, they manifest like in such a terrible way. It doesn't feel kid-friendly at all. There's also a scene where Gunny, who suspects the dog is more than it seems, asks the dog to please show its real form, aka the genie's real form, to him, and the dog turns into flying atoms all over the room. The wishes granted by the magical drifter and the dog all mend the family and help them in some way, except for Gunny's wish. So Gunny kind of wished for the ability to fly high above the fireworks and experience that in his own way. And I kind of thought it was going to be like a metaphor for his death, that he was soaring up and over the fireworks. Because if you had a wish and you had cancer, wouldn't you wish to not have cancer or be cured from the cancer? Or wouldn't that be his mother's wish? But we don't see Gunny as an adult. We're not sure what happened to him, and we've got to presume he died. But he's given this magical one night where he flies over the fireworks, and then his mum finds him afterwards, so it wasn't a metaphor for death, like I thought it was going to be. The actor who plays Tom is the same boy who was in Jurassic Park as Tim. You could argue that all the magic that Gunny experiences is hallucinations because of his cancer treatments and drugs and nightmares that he's having. You could put all the magic down to this kind of coincidence and pretend it's not magical at all. Then you just get the story of kind of a Zen drifter who helps the baseball team get a win, cheers the mum up, possibly through hooking up with her, it's unclear. And then this would have been a straight drama, instead of a mix of magical drama. Unfortunately, neither comes off right. It doesn't feel like it belongs in either world, and so it's a big miss for me. It does have a cameo from Neil McDonough as a cop, and interestingly, Phil Tippett was the visual effects supervisor, who also was in charge of the dinosaurs on Jurassic Park. It's a family film, but it feels a bit too depressing to be one.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.